John Bolton, notorious neocon, has been a stalwart foe of progressives and Democrats for decades because of his positions on war and foreign policy. But then he joined the first Trump administration, and after seeing Donald Trump operate up close as his former national security advisor, he became a critic. And now Trump and his allies view him as a turncoat, and it's arguably one of the reasons they are targeting him. And the FBI is now investigating him, raiding his home for hours today. A person close to Bolton told NBC News today that the raid was retribution, pure and simple. I want to bring back George Conway and Ian Bassin. George, we talked about the sort of danger that the turncoat sort of is for Trump. But I also thought of something else. Have you noticed that these obviously pretextual investigations of Adam Schiff and Letitia James and now Lisa Cook, all three of them are about mortgage fraud, which, of course, he was found guilty of in the civil case, right, with Letitia James against, Trump org. And he was obviously indicted and prosecuted and then saved by the Supreme Court from retention of classified documents. There is a kind of, in both these, right, this sort of trolling, I'm rubber, you're glue, it's all fake anyway, attempt to kind of go after precisely the same crimes or infractions he's been found or prosecuted for.
Yeah, I mean, we've all talked about repeatedly for years about how Donald Trump engages in psychological projection. This is prosecutorial projection, yeah, right. Projecting onto people versions of offenses that he himself commits 1,000 times worse. I mean, take a look at whatever they have on John Bolton, assuming they have something, which is a stretch, I think, but it's not going to approach the number of boxes of confidential documents, of classified documents that were in Donald Trump's bathroom at Mar-a-Lago, in the underground basement storage area. You're not going to see evidence that John Bolton lied to the government and repeatedly refused to give materials back to the government, even assuming he has any such materials. And you're not going to see him, submitting false affidavits to the FBI like the way Trump had his lawyers do it, or trying to destroy security camera footage. You're not going to see any of that. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have any indication of specific classified documents that were in the possession of John Bolton in the way that Donald Trump was. Certainly never going to be as many. But it's probably, their position's probably going to be, John Bolton took reams of notes on a yellow notepad to write his book. And there's classified information, but of course, really the only information in there that Donald Trump would be concerned about protecting the world from was the evidence that he's an absolute incompetent fool.
Well, to this point, I mean, Michael Schmidt made this point, Ian, in the last block, which is true, right? That, the sort of perception of this, that a judge signed off this, we don't know what the facts are at issue. But I remember I think about the case of Mikhail Khodorkovsky, who was the sort of big oligarch that Putin first went after, partly because he was funding opposition media. Khodorkovsky was brought up on corruption charges. Now, I think he probably was corrupt, actually, in the end. But, that's not the point. The members of the Saudi family that got pulled into the Ritz-Carlton in Riyadh by Mohammed bin Salman, and had to confess their it's like a drop of ink in a glass of water, the degree to which the corrupt intent taints it all. You know what I mean? So it's whatever the facts are here, okay, fine, but we all know what's happening.
Yeah. I think it was Stalin famously, right, who said, show me the man, I'll show you the crime, right? And we've all probably driven 56 miles per hour on a federal highway. So the issue that I think we need to watch out for here is Trump's administration wants to get this whole conversation down into the weeds of facts of what did the magistrate see on the warrant and what sort of notes, to George's point, were in the margins of John Bolton's yellow pad. But we can't do that because the thing that's glaring in our face is the overall picture, which is who is being investigated right now. It's all of the people that Donald Trump has named as his opponents and enemies. It's Tish James, it's Adam Schiff, it's Joe Biden, it's Barack Obama. Who's getting tackled? Democratic senators. Who's getting indicted? Democratic, members of Congress. There's an expression, to get technical here in the law, it's Latin, res ipsa loquitur, which roughly translates to this all just stinks to high heaven, right? And I think it is really important that we see the whole picture here, which is that Lady Justice is supposed to be blind, and right now she's wearing a MAGA hat.
We're showing those pictures from Bethesda, Maryland. I believe, George, they say Washington is a small town, and that really understates the case. I think you were there this morning, right? Or close by when the raid happened?
Yeah, I was. I mean, my apartment is about 10 minutes away, and I've driven down that block countless times playing Uber driver for my daughters. And, I knew exactly where it is. And I just said, well, I'm going to go over there and see what's going on, just out of curiosity. And it really was chilling actually to be there, to see the FBI agents coming in with those boxes that you see on the screen right there. I was standing a few feet away from that, taking video of that, bringing boxes. And I have to say, those FBI agents, I live next door to a house that's owned by in D.C., I live next door to a house that's owned by a Russian oligarch, and the FBI conducted a raid there one day. These agents didn't have the kind of swagger that those agents had. They seemed a bit uncomfortable with what they had to do today. I kind of think they know better.
Interesting.